Hey guys, it's Eric here at Farpoint Restorations and Repairs. Today, I'll be showing you how to do front pads and front rotors on a 2000 to 2008, I think it is, 2006 Toyota Tundra. Now this is the first gen, this is a 2000 model. The only changes between this year model and the 2006 model would be that they slightly enlarged the size of the components you're going to see here. This is a four-wheel drive model, but between the two and four-wheel drive model there is zero difference. So let's go ahead. The first thing I'm going to do is pull the wheel off. Now you'll notice I have this on a mid-rise lift. That's just for my back to make it easier. You can totally do this on the ground. Jack it up, put a jack stand under it, pull a wheel, and you're good to go. Let's get the wheel off and then I'll show you what we got. And for this job, I got Detroit axle parts. These are cheapo stuff, no doubt, but they're actually, I mean, I've been pretty happy. I put them on a couple customer cars. I put them on two cars that I've owned. They're the cheapest kits that I can find for doing jobs like this. And I mean, they're not bad. Like, you take a look at the pad, they do come with a nice backing plate there. They got plenty of meat on them. One thing I really like about it, let me cam down a little bit, there we go, is that in this particular kit, it came with new pins, new slide pins, new little clips, all the anti-rattle and the locks, like all that stuff is included. You don't get that with, if you buy it piecemeal, if you buy a set of rotors, buy a set of pads, you'll oftentimes have to buy those separately. Now, you know, professionally, I'll take these things and take them to a wire brush or wire wheel and clean the rust off of them if I'm going to reuse them. But the fact that it came with new ones and it even came with a little brake grease, that's pretty sweet. So this is not an ad for that whatsoever. I bought these with my own money. They are vented and slotted. I think that's more hype than it is anything else, but it's a nice feature for the mountains to help hopefully reduce the heating issues that these things have with the little smaller brakes the early models had, so that's pretty cool. All right, let's get back over there and start disassembling this caliper, this brake system on this side. All right, so here we are at the caliper, and the very first thing we're going to want to do is remove this. Now, some of these have that little pin, just a single pin here and a single pin here. Either way, the process is the same. We're just going to release those. And if you're using this part here is going to go in there. There's a small hole here, so save that in case your brake pads do not come with that. And then we're going to slide out these slide pins. These are external slide pins. You can see how nasty that is and how rusted out. We're going to clean those up. If you're going to reuse them, so you're going to wire brush or a wire wheel, we'll go ahead and pull both those out. It's a good sign that they weren't seized in there. Cool. So I'll set those aside. We'll clean them up before we use it. And lastly, we have this piece here. This is it's like the equivalent of an anti-rattle clip. It keeps just a bit of pressure on these pads so they don't chatter in this hole here while they're using them. And again, hang on to that in case your new set doesn't come with them. So when it comes to getting the pads out, it can be a bit of a trick. I use a pair of pliers and I'll squeeze to compress the pucks on one side and get those back. And once we have them back enough, we can slide out our pads. You can see here, this set's, it's about done. You could have gone a few hundred more miles, but if you really look closely, that squealer is right on it. So it is starting to squeal. And then we do the same thing with the bottom one. And you can see you got to be a little careful here. So a lot of times we don't want to go too much. And I'll show you how to deal with that so you don't blow out a puck. This outer pad was way worse, and was already squealing, so that's why we did that. All right, so we'll toss those. Before we do any more work on compressing these pucks, now there's a tool you can buy that squeezes them out the same, but I'll show you how to do it with just a pair of these and a single wrench like that. It doesn't matter what size it is. What does matter is now we have to take off these bolts here. These are 17mm fine pitch. We're going to take those off. I'm using an impact gun. It can be done with the breaker bar, but let me go ahead and pop those loose and we'll be ready to swap our rotor over. Cool, you are going to reuse those, and you can see what I mean by fine pitch threads there. Those are really, they are, so be careful not to booger those up. Now this next one is like a dance. It's like watching Indiana Jones here. You've got to pull the caliper back. This, unlike a lot of vehicles, you know, usually the rubber brake line is where the flex is. This doesn't have it. You got two choices here. You can remove this pin here, and then you do have some room to move it out. Although I've found, honestly, just pulling back on this and holding it out just enough to slide this off and put our new one on is usually all it takes. And so that's what I'm going to do here.
and there it is. It's already back in place. Now, the thing you definitely don't want to do is use any kind of power tool to start these, because that fine pitch will get cross-threaded, and I have seen that happen in shops quite often. And the other half of this thread is in this spindle, so you got yourself some time. So it's going to take a little while because you've got the brake is pushing against it, the new rotor. And you just got to kind of wiggle it around until you get it into place. And once you get one started, the other one usually is a lot easier. Definitely don't want to do is tighten either one of these down before you've got both of them started, because you'll never find that second one. Okay, and once they're started, we can tighten those back down. Again, I'm using an impact gun, but it's not necessary. But you do want them to be nice and tight for sure. That's it, we're back together, and we're ready to move on to putting our brakes back in. You do have to be careful here. We don't want to pop any of these completely out. So I do this little dance here where I'm going to use a variety of tools to kind of hold things in place while I compress one side down enough to get my pad in. And the way to do that, you can use different pliers, you can use wrenches, whatever. But you do have to be careful because you don't want to have anything blow out completely. And so we'll work on it. As you can see, it's this little dance we're going to have here. But usually you can get one side in enough. There we go. So that side's in all the way. And I'll go ahead and slide one of my pads into place. Right, and once that's done, well, now we have all the movement in the world because this side can't move back. And we'll compress those as well. There we go. Let's see if that's far enough back. Sure is. All right, we've got those back in place, and we are ready to put our pins back in. For the sake of this video, even though it came with new ones, I'll go ahead and show you how easy we just clean them up. So give me a second here, I'll clean them on the wire wheel, and I'll show you what you're looking for before installing them. All right, well, I am back from the wire wheel, and you can see I've taken those old rusty ones and I've cleaned them up pretty darn good. I mean, they look plenty fine. If they have major pitting or they are bent or anything like that, then you're going to want to go ahead and replace them. But in this case, they don't look too bad. So I am going to reuse these, and I'll save the new set for later. And the next thing we are going to do then is go ahead and get these into place, and you start them. I got to get it just the right way. There we go, like so. No, that's not it, like that way. You start across here and you wiggle it. Oh, don't fall. And you're just going to kind of place that in there. This one slid back just a little bit. There we go. And you're going to slide it through both hose holes until it comes through the other side. This gets stuffed in right here. There's a hole, and you're going to be placing those in there. There's one, and there's the other. And so that just gives some little tension on this whole process here. So that's what you're looking for. Now, I like to do, before I get the bottom one in here, this one's already set up. Now, what I like to do is just make sure that this is in the right place. If not, you can rotate it around, but roughly there is where you want that little teeny hole to be. All right, and then we're ready to put our bottom piece in here. This is a very old style of brakes, commonly seen on European stuff in the front and the rear. But Toyota used it, I would say, far too long, but they kept using it right up through the 90s and into the 2000s on some of their bigger stuff. And you can see I've slid the little edges right into those holes there, and then you're going to take this and stick it into that hole. It loops around, and that locks these pins in place so they don't fall out while you're driving down the road. That, my friend, is that. That's all there is to the brake job on the 2000 Tundra. The only thing I would say is after you get your tire on, before you even start the car, you want to pump the brakes a whole bunch to make sure that your pedal returns, because we've contracted these pistons back to their farthest most position, and the first squeeze may not get it. It might sink all the way to the floor. So if you pump it up a few times, those pucks are going to move back out and squeeze those brakes and give us the stopping power that we need. That's it, my friends. Till next time, take care.